In this podcast, we're going to get back to our Dama Sabachka, part number 6. We keep on reading this stuff. This is really remarkable, and I would love for us to keep on going, and I hope that you are listening to this in sequence. Go back to the first episode if you're just simply stumbling upon this, episode number 6 of reading the Chekhov classic. And yeah, so you can just keep up with the story, keep up with the text, and as we go further, I kind of take pauses in different parts of the text. We're not going to go over the same exact text or the same exact points over and over and over again. So let's go back. We stopped at part number 2. We stopped where they wanted to go somewhere else after they walked on the waterfront and seen the pier and seen people arrive to Yalta. They wanted to go somewhere else, but she didn't say anything in response to him saying, you want to go somewhere, you want to go eat somewhere, things like that. So now let's continue our story. Тогда он пристально поглядел на нее и вдруг обнял ее и поцеловал в губы. И его обдало запахом и влагой цветов. И тотчас же он пугливо огляделся. Не видел ли кто? Then he looked intently at her and suddenly embraced her and kissed her on the lips. And he was enveloped by the smell and moisture of flowers. And immediately he looked around fearfully. Did anyone see? So then we have these two verbs. Actually, first word is вдруг, suddenly. Обнял means hugged. Обнял ее, hugged her. И поцеловал ее в губы and kissed her on the mouth or on the lips. And she was holding flowers, and the smell and the moisture of flowers kind of got all over him. And then this phrase, не видел ли кто? Did anyone see? Or hasn't anyone seen? Kind of, he's afraid, I think, that somebody's going to see them, and he just wanted to kiss her, I guess. This word огляделся is he looked around. Then he says, «Пойдемте к вам», проговорил он тихо. Let's go to your place, he said quietly. «Пойдемте» means let's go, but formal. Or, yeah, formal. «К вам», to you, or to your place. Проговорил means he spoke or spoke through or said. И оба пошли быстро, and they both went quickly. Оба means both. Пошли, of course, means went. Быстро means fast. And I think the reason why he said that is he got scared that somebody might have seen him, and he says, let's go to your place. And they both went quickly, because as a reminder, they're both married. У нее в номере было душно, пахло духами, которые она купила в японском магазине. In her room, it was stuffy. It smelled of the perfume that she bought in the Japanese store. Было душно means it was stuffy. But we have this phrase. У нее в комнате. At her room or in her room. Why don't we just say в ее номере? In her room. Why do we say у нее? У нее в номере, we say у нее because if we just simply said в ее номере, that would be in her room and it was stuffy, but it wouldn't be because she had it that way. She made it a bit stuffy. So in fact, both can be used kind of interchangeably, to where we say у нее в комнате or у нее в номере, в ее номере. Both can be used, but I think у нее adds a bit more of her personal involvement with that. Гуров, глядя на нее теперь, думал, каких только не бывает в жизни встреч. Гуров, looking at her now, thought, what kind of encounters happen in life? Теперь here means now. Глядя на нее теперь, looking at her now. So теперь, always think of теперь as now with a change. Теперь is always used when we have a change of some sort. So before he looked at her differently, but now he looks at her like, what kinds of encounters happen in life? Next. От прошлого у него сохранилось воспоминание о беззаботных, добродушных женщинах, веселых от любви, благодарных ему за счастье, хотя бы очень короткое. He had memories of carefree, good-natured women from the past, joyful from love, grateful to him for happiness, even if it was very brief. I want to highlight adjectives here. Беззаботных, which means careless. In fact, I would change it to just nominative form. Беззаботный means careless. Без means without. Заботный means care. Беззаботный means without a care. Добродушный, which means good-natured or good soul women. Веселый, happy or joyful. Благодарный, thankful or grateful. And then короткая, of course, means short. So he describes these careless, just women who just give him joy and happiness just because he spent some time with them. This continues. И о таких, как, например, его жена, которые любили без искренности, с излишними разговорами, манерно, с истерией, с таким выражением, как будто то была не любовь, не страсть, а что-то более значительное. And of those, like his wife, for instance, who love without sincerity, with excessive chatter, pretentiously, hysterically, with an expression as if it was not love, not passion, but something more significant. So he compares his memories of those who were just simply kind of joyful and happy and careless and loved him carelessly. And then he thinks of women like his wife, who loved without sincerity. Okay? Right here. Без искренности means without sincerity. Искренний is sincere. Разговоры means talks, chatter, conversations. He says, с излишними разговорами, with excessive chatter. Okay? This sentence keeps going. It's not done yet, but it's just simply so long we have to divide it. И о таких двух-трех, очень красивых, холодных, у которых вдруг промелькало на лице хищное выражение, упрямое желание взять, выхватить у жизни больше, чем она может дать. And a couple of very beautiful, cold women who suddenly had a predatory expression on their faces. A stubborn desire to take, to snatch more from life that it could give. Then we have here хищное выражение. Predatory expression. Хищник is a predator. Хищник. Хищное выражение means predatory expression. And then this great adjective, упрямый. Упрямый means stubborn. And this word is used, упрямое желание, stubborn desire. This sentence, if you believe it, keeps on going. И это были не первой молодости, капризные, нерассуждающие, властные, неумные женщины. И когда Гуров охладевал к ним, то красота их возбуждала в нем ненависть, и кружева на их белье казались ему тогда похожими на чешую. Listen to this sentence. This is just incredible. And these were not young women, capricious, maybe like women who like to whine a lot or complain a lot. Okay, that's the word. I'm not sure about if capricious is the right word because I simply have not seen it before. Unthinking, domineering, not intelligent women. And when Gurov cooled towards them, their beauty aroused hatred in him, and the lace on their underwear seemed like scales to him. Right? So these women who weren't young, they were capricious, they were unthinking, they were very domineering and not intelligent, but then when he suddenly just cooled off toward them, right? They started to look like snakes to him with scales, lace on their underwear, okay? So he must be seeing them in their underwear it's not even underwear, it can be their bra too, so lingerie, I'll put it differently, lingerie. So he thought of many women that he's been with, right? And as you can tell, he's been with many that are not his wife, which is not good. So here's how he describes them. Не первой молодости, not first youth. Women of not first youth. Первая молодость means somebody who is still very, very young. Капризный, capricious, or those who whine a lot or complain a lot. Не рассуждающие, unthinking. Рассуждать means to ponder, to think deeply about something. And рассуждающий is a person who thinks, is a thinking person. So he describes them as unthinking persons or unthinking women. Властные, those who want power. Неумные женщины, not smart women. So, interesting. I'm not sure where he goes with this, but let's keep going. Но тут все та же несмелость, угловатость неопытной молодости, неловкое чувство, и было впечатление растерянности, как будто кто вдруг постучал в дверь. I think I know where he wants to take us here. But here there was this same timidity, the awkwardness of inexperienced youth, an awkward feeling, and there was a sense of confusion, as if someone had suddenly knocked on the door. So he describes her as somebody who he has never met or never experienced before, because she was so young, I think. So несмелость, timidity or lack of courage, угловатость, awkwardness, неопытной молодости, of an inexperienced youth, неловкое чувство, awkward feeling. So we have two words that mean awkward. Неловкий, which means awkward, and угловатость, awkwardness. Угловатость, think of угловатость, it really means there's a lot of corners. And so there's a lot of things that are not smooth, that is awkward, which would translate to awkwardness in a relationship. But неловкий is a bit more common. Then Анна Сергеевна, эта дама с собачкой, к тому, что произошло, отнеслась как-то особенно, очень серьезно, точно к своему падению. Так казалось, и это было странно и не кстати. Anna Sergeyevna, this lady with the dog, took what happened very seriously, as if it were her downfall. It seemed, and it was strange and untimely. So, what happened, she took it seriously because I think she is innocent, right? She has her husband and she has not been not loyal to her husband, right? She has been loyal to her husband and she took that very seriously. Right here, точно к своему падению, as if it were her downfall. Падение means downfall or falling. So, let's keep going. У нее опустились, завяли черты, и по сторонам лица печально висели длинные волосы. Она задумалась в унылой позе. Точно грешница на старинной картине. Her features drooped, withered, and long hair hung sadly on the sides of her face. She pondered in a gloomy pose, like a sinner in an old painting. Great stuff. You can picture her just sitting there sad. So, опустились, drooped, завяли, withered. Черты means features or facial features. And this sentence or part of a sentence is very descriptive. И по сторонам лица, on the sides of her face, печально висели длинные волосы. Her hair sadly hung. We all know people when they sit and when they're sad, especially those with longer hair, it can be men or women, and that hair on both sides of their face, we can picture that the image of her just sitting like that, looking down, and her hair just on her sides, sad. Then we continue. «Нехорошо», — сказала она. «Вы же первый меня не уважаете теперь». It's not right, she said. You're the first not to respect me now. Which is interesting of what she says, right? She doesn't talk about, oh, My husband might know this, that, and the third. Нехорошо. It's not good. It's not right. Вы первый меня не уважаете. You don't trust me. You don't respect me first. You first disrespected me. Okay, which is interesting. Let's keep going. На столе в номере был арбуз. Гуров отрезал себе ломоть и стал есть не спеша. Прошло, по крайней мере, полчаса в молчании. There was a watermelon on the table in the room. Gurov cut himself a slice and began to eat slowly. At least half an hour passed in silence. So just kind of not thinking about what happened, just getting a watermelon. He is painted as such careless person. She is sad, but he is going to go ahead and get himself a slice of a watermelon. Right? Right here, отрезал себе, cut himself. Ломоть means a slice, so he cut himself a slice. And this не спеша. Не спеша means without haste or unhastily. And then right here, the sentence, по крайней мере, at least, when they say at least half an hour went by. По крайней мере, at the very least. Анна Сергеевна была трогательна. От нее веяло чистотой порядочной, наивной, мало жившей женщины. Одинокая свеча, горевшая на столе, едва освещала ее лицо. Но было видно, что у нее нехорошо на душе. Anna Sergeyevna was touching. She exuded the purity of a decent, naive woman who had lived little. A solitary candle burning on the table barely illuminated her face, but it was clear she felt bad in her soul. We're going to stop right here. Let's translate this one, but that's going to be our last for this podcast. Была трогательна. She was touching. I think also трогательна means she was... You could say anything to her and she would take it to heart. От нее веяло, she exuded, чистотой, she exuded the purity, порядочной, наивной, мало жившей, decent, naive, a person who hasn't lived a lot. And then, одинокая свеча, lonely candle or solitary candle. So, what they say here is that, what Chekhov says, is that there was only one candle illuminating her face. But you can still see that her soul was touched. Но было видно, but it was clear, что у нее, that she has, у нее нехорошо на душе. So her soul feels bad. У нее нехорошо на душе. This phrase у меня на душе, in my soul, or in my being, у меня на душе. We say this phrase a lot when we want to be sincere. Я скажу все, что у меня на душе. I'll say everything that's in my heart. У меня на душе. У нее на душе, in her heart, in her soul. У него на душе, in his soul, etc. So, whenever you want to be very sincere, you can just simply say, у меня на душе. Alright? So let's read this whole thing again and kind of sum it up. Тогда он пристально поглядел на нее и вдруг обнял ее и поцеловал в губы. Его обдало запахом и влагой цветов, и тотчас же он пугливо огляделся. Не видел ли кто? «Пойдемте к вам», — проговорил он тихо. И оба пошли быстро. У нее в номере было душно, пахло духами, которые она купила в японском магазине. Гуров, глядя на нее теперь, думал, каких только не бывает в жизни встреч. От прошлого у него сохранилось воспоминание о беззаботных, добродушных женщинах, веселых от любви, благодарных ему за счастье, хотя бы очень короткое, и о таких, как, например, его жена, которые любили без искренности, с излишними разговорами, манерно, с истерией, с таким выражением, как будто то была не любовь, не страсть, а что-то более значительное. и о таких 2-3 очень красивых, холодных, у которых вдруг промелькало на лице хищное выражение, упрямое желание взять, выхватить у жизни больше, чем она может дать. И это были не первые молодости, капризные, нерассуждающие, властные, неумные женщины. И когда Гуров охладевал к ним, то красота их возбуждала в нем ненависть, и кружева на их белье казались ему тогда похожими на чешую. Но тут все та же несмелость, угловатость неопытной молодости, неловкое чувство. И это было впечатление растерянности, как будто кто вдруг постучал в дверь. Анна Сергеевна, эта дама с собачкой, к тому, что произошло, отнеслась как-то особенно, очень серьезно, точно к своему падению. Так казалось, и это было странно и не кстати. У нее опустились, завяли черты, и по сторонам лица печально висели длинные волосы. Она задумалась в унылой позе, точно грешница на старинной картине. «Нехорошо», — сказала она, — «вы же первый меня не уважаете теперь». На столе в номере был арбуз. Гуров отрезал себе ломоть и стал есть не спеша. Прошло, по крайней мере, полчаса в молчании. Анна Сергеевна была трогательна. От нее веяло чистотой порядочной, наивной, мало жившей женщины. Одинокая свеча, горевшая на столе, едва освещала ее лицо, но было видно, что у нее нехорошо на душе. And that is all. So, this difference in character, he thought of a lot of women, and he thought back to meeting them. They were this happy, joyful, just happy that they're with him even for a short period of time. Then there's people like his wife, who don't really love sincerely, but they kind of doing it almost out of some other calling or other goal, maybe because they want to be just simply loyal without love being there anyway. And then these cold but beautiful women who are not so smart, but yet they want the power. And so whenever he would turn cold to them, their beauty seemed like scales. So they seem like just snakes. But then you see this Anna Sergeyevna, this young woman who took the kiss of a stranger as her downfall because of her purity. And maybe even, I guess of her purity and not really, and diving into this world of infidelity. That is all for today. If you want to understand what I'm talking, what I'm speaking, what I'm reading a bit better off the cuff, join Be Fluent. It's the first link in the description. Join us, learn this stuff, learn the foundation of Russian, become a master of Russian with us. And I'll see you all in the next podcast. Пока-пока.